Good morning, guys. I hope that you had a great night and I hope that you're having a great day. This is going to be a pretty long upload. Hope not too long, but it will be long. Maybe in 30, 45 minutes to an hour, maybe. So I hope that you guys can listen through it because it is very, very important when we're dealing with what I'm going to be sharing with you guys today. And basically, what I'm going to be talking about is why you should not publicly shame someone on social media. This is an article that you guys can find if you want from mintlaw.com. Um, and I'm basically going to share with you guys the information that they have here, okay? So bear with me and sit back, get you guys something to drink, soak up this fucking information. Okay? If you want this shit to stop, if you want people to stop publicly humiliating you or us or anyone on social media, you may want to take the time out of your busy day to listen to me or go to menslaw.com and read this article for yourself so that you can know what you can do when people on social media like to publicly humiliate and shame you. Okay? So here we go. We live in a world where shaming people on the internet and cancel culture has become the norm. Is it possible nowadays to browse through our Facebook or Twitter feed without stumbling on a post about a rude waiter who ruined someone's dining experience? Or more recently, a video showing an angry Karen who refuses to wear a mask, egging others to pile on and join in. With easy access to cameras and the internet and our devices, it is both easy and tempting to shame someone for inappropriate or unethical behavior. The internet harassment lawyers of men's law field calls from thousands of victims of online shaming and internet harassment each year and help hundreds of clients deal with the negative consequences, having seen both sides of the issue. We would like to share some reasons you should think twice before shaming someone on the internet or social media. Online shaming can lead to harsh consequences for the poster, the person being shamed, and others. Some of the serious consequences associated with online shaming include ruining reputations and careers, causing severe psychological damage, being targeted or shamed yourself, and civil and criminal lawsuits. In this article, we will discuss the often unintended consequences of online shaming and why it should be avoided. Then we will provide some alternatives to shaming so people can feel heard without the dire consequences. We will start by discussing common reasons people shame others, from individuals to businesses, and how social media has magnified the punishing consequences of shaming. Common reasons for online shaming. Public shaming is not a new concept. Public humiliation and punishment are universal human behaviors that have occurred in society for ages. However, the advent of the internet and social media use to shame has taken this bad behavior to a whole different level. With online shaming, people engage in social shaming at a much larger scale, in more organized ways, and acts of public punishment have greater consequences than to the people that are being affected. Before taking a look at all the potential negative consequences online social media shaming has on people who are shamed and on the shamers themselves, it is helpful to understand the most common reason why people engage in this behavior. Below are some of the most prevalent reasons why we currently see people engage in shaming behavior. Cheating and adulterers, As every ninth grader who read the Scarlet Letter will confirm, sexual impropriety has long been a source of public shame. Today, entire websites, public shaming sites, for example, cheatingreport.com, she'sahomewrecker.com, tag the sponsor, nameandshame.com have devoted their corner of the internet to shaming those accused of infidelity. To make matters worse, much of the content posted to cheater sites like Cheaterville and Report Cheater is intimate in nature, often depicting nude images or videos of the accused cheater. For many people, the personal nature of the content shared only amplifies the psychological damage of the shaming incident. Deadbeats. Much like the website created solely to shame cheaters, websites have also been created to call out deadbeats that focus on behavior the shamer finds morally unacceptable. Websites like deadbeatsexposed.com shame individuals for a variety of behavior, from failure to pay child support to parents caught doing drugs. Johns. The term John has been a part of the American vocabulary for quite a bit, longer than the much newer Karen label. If you are unfamiliar, John is a reference to a man caught soliciting prostitutes. Like the sites that expose cheaters and deadbeats, websites like predatorsalert.com exist as a place for shamers to vent about others' socially unacceptable behavior. Negative business reviews. Technically, the oldest complaint known to man is over 3,700 years old, made by the customer of Babylonian copper merchant. That's right, complaints about poor service are nothing new. But sites designed solely for negative online complaints like ripoffreport.com, scam.com, whoscammedyou.com, and pissconsumer.com provide a new outlet to vent about an age-old problem. While ancient complaints may have rippled through a small community, today's consumer complaints can be shared worldwide with just a few clicks, causing almost unmeasurable damage. This is what everybody on the YouTube is familiar with: doxing. Doxing is a pretty extreme invasion of privacy, publication of private facts that has cropped up in recent years. In case you are unfamiliar with the term, doxing happens when someone shares your personal information on the internet. This could mean publicizing your real name, home address, telephone number, place of work, or even more private information. Doxing is often a tool of internet vigilantes and hackers who want specific subject, who want to subject someone they do not like to extreme harassment. Often, doxing victims are public figures or influencers, although it can happen to anyone, as we all fucking know. Criminal behavior. The police blotter in the local newspaper used to be a ripe source of town gossip and shaming. Busybodies would scan the previous week's arrests, anxious to learn who in their community was up to no good. While arrest records are public and often still report in print media, the internet has made it much easier to share news of criminal behavior and shame the individuals who are accused of it. A whole web-based industry now exists, making individuals pay to remove their image off of an online mugshot website. Naturally, when information regarding criminal allegation is shared, particularly on social media, people can be seen commenting and sharing this information, full of condemnation, and vitriol, which I do not know what that means, that word even freaking means, okay? Revenge porn. The one-liner sends nudes has become the subject of many memes. Thanks to cell phones and dating apps, many people are a lot more free sharing pornographic images than they once were, a practice referred as sexting. One of the primary dangers of sexting is that those who later feel rejected by a potential mate may end up maliciously publishing private and intimate content for the world to see. Sharing sexually explicit content without the subject's consent is known as revenge porn, and it can be especially problematic. If you have been wronged by an ex and feel like sharing explicit images of them as a means of shaming them, you could face serious criminal repercussions. On the flip side, if you discover that private images of you have been shared without your consent on revenge porn websites, it can turn your life upside down. Any way you look at it, revenge porn is not worth the negative consequences. If you are inclined to vent about a past relationship, we will provide some better and legal alternatives to revenge porn at the end of the article. The Streisand Effect, which is new to me. I've never heard of the Streisand Effect. The Streisand Effect is a weird roundabout tale of censorship gone wrong. In 23, celebrity Barbra Streisand discovered an image of her personal residence online. It turns out that the photo was taken as a part of a research project and had only been viewed 6 times, 2 of which were by Streisand's attorneys. Instead of oh my God, instead of shrugging the incident off, Streisand's attorney tried to get the image removed in a lawsuit against the photographer. The lawsuit was picked up by news media, bringing attention to the very thing that Streisand sought to censor. Within a month of filing suit, the image had approximately 500,000 views. Thus, the Streisand Effect was born, a phenomenon where an attempt to hide something only makes it more popular. In the context of online shaming, the Streisand Effect is a double-edged sword, hurting both the shamee and the shamer. If you make a shaming post assuming only your close friends and family will see it, it could and will go viral in ways you've never imagined. Once that occurs, it's almost impossible to backtrack. You might delete the post or the video, but it has already been shared countless times. If you find yourself at the center of a lawsuit over the post or the past, there is no doubt the viral reposting will be used against you. Now, we all know about the Karens, right? Karens. If you're not seeing a meme or a viral video referencing a Karen, you are missing out on one of the internet's most popular tropes for the moment. If your name happens to be Karen, you are probably all too aware of the negative connotation the name has taken on in recent years. While not every internet Karen is exactly named Karen, the term is used to be described entitled middle-class white women. In particular, women that ask to speak to the manager or call the police over seemingly inane behavior are deemed Karens by internet critics. In most recent months, the moniker has been used to shame those who refuse to wear masks against the state health guidelines. While we are on the subject of Karens, it's probably a good opportunity to transition to a discussion of social justice warriors and cancel culture. Now, we do know about cancel culture, right? Because, again, motherfuckers have been doing it on the tube. At the time this article has been written, it is an election year in the United States, so political discourse has taken center stage, and political discourse is as diverse as ever. Not only are individuals finding themselves the subject of shaming for the political lanes, but cancel culture has landed businesses in the spotlight of shame as well. Social justice warriors are the vigilantes of the internet, happy to call out others for behavior or ideas they disagree with. The problem is that SJWs tend to focus more on blaming and shaming. Let's say that again. SJWs tend to focus more on blaming and shaming than starting a dialogue, leading more to division than progress. Again, leading more to division than progress. Their shaming only publicizes the other person's beliefs. Like the Streisand Effect draws attention to someone who aims to suppress, SJWs sometimes give more credibility to an otherwise fringe benefit, which means they need something or they want something, okay? While they want to be social SJWs, but don't call out their fuck shit, but love to exploit someone else's, okay? Take the food brand Goya, for example. In early July 2020, Goya CEO Bob Yunnan endorsed President Donald Trump in a Rose Garden press conference, referring to this president as a blessed leader. The CEO political endorsement of Trump sparked a huge outcry and calls to boycott Goya over the perceived disconnect between Trump's treatment of Latinos and Goya's primary customer base. Consumers took to social media to express outrage, making it clear they do not want to support outspoken business owners with political beliefs that differ from their own. The problem is that all the attention created to different camps, the boycott Goya camp on one side and the boycott Goya camp on the other. At the end of the day, Goya brands were trending all over social media, and a GoFundMe page leads to hundreds of thousands in revenue for the company. Whether the Goya shaming worked out for SJWs or the brand itself will largely depend on who you ask. This begs the question whether cancel culture and online shaming are actually effective in the long run. Shaming individuals and businesses for racism has also become ominous in recent news, particularly since the death of George Floyd in May 2020 and the rise of Black Lives Matter movement. People have started calling out racism all over the globe. Naturally, racism and injustice provoke strong feelings, and public shaming seems to be a natural byproduct of that moral disgust. Reputation management tip. You guys might want to listen to this. You can use Google Alerts to monitor mentions of your name or business online. While this free tool does not prevent online defamation, it is a great way to track what is being published so that you can respond quickly to any negative content. Again, Google Alerts, okay? Why you should not shame someone online. Those of you who like to shame people online, those of you who like to lie about people online, those of you who like to talk about people's babies online, those of you who like to disrespect the dead online, those of you who like to come online and make up fucking stories and then apologize and then come back and make up another motherfucking story, those type of motherfuckers, okay? Today, there are virtually infinite ways to shame someone online. And sometimes, in the heat of the moment, putting someone on blast for the world to see can be quite tempting, because I've done it. Okay? What you may not realize is that online shaming carries some pretty heavy psychological consequences, emotionally speaking. Shame is a different feeling from guilt. Again, shame is a different feeling from guilt. Shame is a different feeling from guilt. Shame is an attack on our person and makes us hate ourselves. When we feel shame, we hate ourselves and we feel flawed or evil, like we are a bad person who cannot ever be salvaged. Guilt, on the other hand, is a recognition that we have hurt someone else's feelings, that someone we have said or done was not in the best taste. Again, guilt, on the other hand, is a recognition that we have hurt someone else's feelings, that something we have said or done was not in the best taste. While the difference between guilt and shame may sound like a subtle distinction, the effects on a person's mental health are significant. Guilt has a greater tendency to lead to change because the person who feels guilt recognizes that they are not bad, but they made a fixable mistake. They are more inclined to change their ways. But yet, the same motherfuckers, like Myron and the motherfuckers like him who like to come on here and bandwagon and say he knows all and knows everything, but at the same time don't know a motherfucking thing. But he loves to shame motherfuckers. He loves to call out people that he cannot be with or he cannot be like. Typical fucking hater, right? A motherfucker who clearly wants to get his shit wet, but can't, right? Because the women that he continues to shame wouldn't even fuck with that nigga, okay? But yet, comes and says, I'm sorry, I apologize, I lied, I'm a liar. But getting mad when a bitch like me call him a liar. Make it make fucking sense. You liar. You fuck nigga. Okay? And it's always gonna be fuck you nigga. But you ain't changed your motherfucking ways. You still pissing in bottles. You still sleeping in cars. You know, the same old bullshit, nigga. Get your life right. According to psychologists, shame is more destructive emotion. This is because ridding on oneself of guilt is often easier than overcoming shame, in part because our society offers many ways to expiate guilt-inducing offenses, including apologizing, paying fines, and serving jail time. As internet defamation attorneys, Mill have seen firsthand the harm caused by online shaming. They would like to take this opportunity to share some of the consequences of internet shaming that might make you think twice before hitting that fucking live or even that upload. Okay? Niggas that like to do this, niggas that like to put people on their walls, niggas that like to continually do the bullshit. You can't ruin someone's reputation and livelihood. If you are angry with someone, you may think it would be worthwhile to humiliate them online. But it is important to remember that online shaming can cause long-term damage to the other person's reputation, like you fucking care though. You could be responsible for someone losing their job and their income, especially if you shame an employee or business. While you may feel it's okay with those consequences in the heat of the moment, it helps to think about the harm you could actually cause. Even if the other person had a bad attitude or did something wrong, was it so bad that the children or family deserve to suffer too? Let me say that again. Even if the person had a bad attitude or did something wrong, was it so bad that their children or family deserves to suffer too? Beyond that, there are two sides to every story. We all had bad days and make mistakes. In the past, we did not run the risk of eternal public humiliation for the world to see via online shaming. It behooves everyone to stop and think before pushing that fucking button. Have I ever made a mistake, been in a bad mood, or said something I should not have said? Sometimes when we put ourselves in other people's shoes, we are not so quick to rush to judgment. Again, have I ever made a mistake, been in a bad mood, or said something I should not have said? Sometimes we put ourselves in the other person's shoes. We are not so quick to rush to fucking judgment. Look no further than the news to find a prominent example of shaming ruining a victim's life. In 2012, Mark Adam Smith confronted a Chick-fil-A employee over the company's anti-LGBTQ stance. In his attempt to shame an employee for working for a hateful corporation, he shared a video of the confrontation on YouTube, thinking only his 5 followers would see it. Instead, the video went viral and Smith became the victim of shaming himself. The company where he worked as CFO received bomb threats and was promptly fired. He received death threats. Photos of his children were published online, you know, when people like to make mock funerals of people's children. That type of shit. Okay? An internet warrior suggested he should kill himself. You know, like fuck niggas be doing on our shit. Tell him you need to kill yourself. You should kill yourself. You know, that type of shit. Okay? According to Smith, he almost took their advice, contemplating suicide for the first time in his life. More than 2 years after the incident, Smith still had not lived down his reputation. 2 fucking years. He was repeatedly turned down for work and nearly lost his home. The CFO, who once had over $1 million in stock options, had to rely on food stamps to feed his family. So for those of you people who constantly like to come on here and degrade people and degrade their family, and then they turn around and do something to you, now he was shamed for doing the right thing, for letting the people know how Chick-fil-A was about the LGBTQ. But now people turn it on him and want him to kill himself. Now people don't want to hire him. And he had to rely on food stamps to feed his fucking family. Shame can last forever. For better or worse, things posted on the internet can last forever. Even when shamers feel remorse and they try to delete a post, it is often too late. Most of today's internet users now know how to take screenshots of posts, making the post last forever, even if it's later removed. The same is even more true for viral posts or video. If several scraper sites repost the content or news publications pick up the story, there is no going back. You may be able to convince a website or two to remove the content, but preventing reposts will likely become a never-ending game of cat and mouse. Online defamation fact. An absolute defense to a charge of defamation is truth. Truth. Not only can individual defendants defend themselves by claiming their statements were true, new publications often rely on the defense of truth. While some news publications will modify minor inaccuracies, they will rarely remove content that is substantially truthful. Your inability to walk back a shaming post or upload or live is only the tip of the iceberg. As discussed earlier, shame is a powerful emotion that can cause grave psychological damage. One victim wrote of the ever-present role of shame in his life after he was called out for cheating on his ex. Others have suffered even more dire consequences, like the 47-year-old clerk who took his own life after being accused of racism on a Facebook post. Unfortunately, we never really know just how close someone might be to brink. And an impulsive act, online shaming, could be the very thing that pushes someone over the edge. A split-second decision to post something online or video can lead to a lifetime of pain and regret for both the shamer and the victim. Unintended consequences of shaming. The backlash of online shaming affects more than just the lives of those who are targeted. Viral posts, by their very nature, have the power of taking on lives of their own, long after the original post or live or video is made. When individuals use viral posts or video or upload to share information or spread positive messages, the results can be overwhelming. Use the power of online influence to be part of a fucking solution, not the fucking problem. In 2018, a woman who later became known as hashtag Permit Patty was caught on camera calling the cops on an African American girl selling water. The video was shared online and quickly went viral. Ultimately, hashtag Permit Patty, otherwise known as Allison Edel, had to resign from her job at a cannabis product company. The problem was that Edel was not the only person harmed in the aftermath. The company she worked for was threatened, and people started boycotts, even though her employer had nothing to do with the incident. Other employees and customers were harassed, in addition to Edel, despite their complete lack of involvement with Edel's behavior. We have also seen revenge porn lead to drastic unintended consequences. While a shamer may intend to embarrass an ex who has wronged them, revenge porn can actually be dangerous for the victim. Often victims of revenge porn will be the target of criminal extortionists. They may even receive death threats. More often than not, this is not the type of outcome the original poster is asking for. The shaming incident may backfire on you. Shaming posts are often controversial in some manner. There are two sides to every story. And as you might imagine, not every person who views a post or listens to a video will take the same side. There is always a chance that others could side with the person you are posting or speaking about. People commenting online may start harassing you or say that you are the one acting like a bully. They may say your post or your videos was insensitive, offensive, or an exaggeration. You may even be accused of lying or trying to draw attention to yourself. Shaming online is probably not the best way of getting support or sympathy after a frustrating incident. More often than not, online shaming ends up doing just the opposite, attracting negative attention. The consequences of online shaming are not only ethical or in nature. One of the more dire consequences shamers face is the threat of legal action in the form of criminal or civil lawsuits. Let me say that again. The consequences of online shaming are not only ethical in nature. One of the more dire consequences shamers face is the threat of legal action in the form of criminal or civil lawsuit. You could face legal consequences. At Mintz Law, they specialize in filing lawsuits against those who publicly shame and defame our clients online. If your post or video is not true or accurate and harms another person's reputation, you could be sued. Let's say this again. If your post or videos is not true or accurate and harms another person's fucking reputation, you could be sued. Here are just a few of the legal claims you could face for online shaming. Defamation. Google it. Online harassment. Google it. Cyberbullying. Invasion of privacy. Intentional infliction of emotional distress. Let's go here. Intentional infliction of emotional distress. Intentional infliction of emotional distress. It's intentional when people go online, post videos, or go live and say the same shit about somebody over and over and over again. Not to make a point, but to cause emotional distress. The same motherfucker that I was speaking about earlier. The hashtag drop the drunk, hashtag the scammer crew. You get on here and you say things, and then you want to post things, and then you want to put up people's pictures and say all the same fucked up shit that you've been saying, intentionally inflicting emotional distress. You can sue for that. False light. Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. False light. Not sure what that is. I don't really want to go look that up right now, but let's see what it's. Nah, never mind. You want to know what it is? Y'all can go to mintzlaw.com, click on it, and find out what false light is. Criminal charges. If you shame someone online, you could be accused of cyberbullying, which is nothing to take lightly. According to studies, 4 in 10 Americans have experienced some form of online harassment. Let me be blunt. You do not want to contribute to the statistics. Because of the breadth of severity of online harassment, cyberbullying has become a serious criminal issue that is punishable by law. Doxing, revenge porn, online harassment could also land you in a criminal trouble. As online shaming increases, more states are adding criminal statutes designed to protect victims from some of the more sinister forms of shaming. While you may not think your shaming post or video is justified, law enforcement could disagree, and that is not worth the conflict worth engaging. Okay? Civil lawsuits. Aside from possible criminal consequences, you could face civil damages for shaming someone online. Just this year, 2 women tweeted allegations that Justin Bieber sexually assaulted them on separate occasions in 2014 and 2015. As you might imagine, the tweets went viral. The girls deleted their tweets within days of posting them, but the damage was fucking done. The tweets had gone viral and reposted all over the internet, as well as picked by a new publication. Less than a week after the posts were made, Bieber's attorneys filed a $20 million defamation lawsuit against both women. In his lawsuit, Bieber claims that the allegations were fabricated and factually impossible. No matter how you look at it, you do not want to be on the defending end of a lawsuit. Litigation would drain your time, money, and resources. It would also cause a ton of stress in your life. At the end of the day, the momentary satisfaction of shaming someone online is not worth the threat of a lawsuit. Now, they go on and tell you and giving you some alternatives to online shaming. However, I'm not even going to go on that because that's not even the point I'm trying to make. Because I could go and waste more of you guys' time by reading this boring ass but informative information. You guys that continue to do this, to like to go on here and shame people online, are going to continue to do it. So we know you're not going to confront the other person privately. We already fucking know that. People have been asked to drop links. No one shows up, but yet on the other side, motherfuckers say get here, motherfuckers get there, you don't allow them up. So we already know confronting the other person privately is not gonna fucking happen, right? Okay. Take the high road will never happen. Okay, motherfuckers take the high road, come say, I'm sorry, I lied, I exaggerated, oh fuck them, I don't fuck with them, but I like them. You take the high road, but then you go back on the low road where you deserve to be, where you belong to be, where you're comfortable at, and come back and do the same shit, right? So there's no point of me talking about taking the fucking high road. Pursue legal action, though. I will tell you this. We certainly do not want to give the impression that you should stay silent in times of injustice. We get that sometimes people commit shameful acts that should not be ignored. Absolutely. Like scam. Like putting people's pictures up to humiliate them. Shit like that. If you run into such a situation and think someone has committed a crime, report it. Report it. In recent years, it is hard to pursue a social media newsfeed without seeing allegations of sexual assault. We do not condone such behavior in the slightest, but social media is not the most effective venue for for curing this injustice. Spread awareness, yes, but alerting the world to the fact that you were sexually assaulted online could backfire in more ways than one. Shaming someone for sexual assault online could negatively interfere with the legal pursuit of your case. Secondly, merely posting the incident online will not prevent the individual from assaulting someone else in the future. Your best chance of preventing future harm and future harm to yourself is by reporting the crime to the proper authorities. Okay? We help victims of online shaming. We think it's disappointing how prevalent online shaming has become, and that is why we do everything in our power to stop it. If you are thinking of shaming someone on the internet, you need to think twice. There could be serious consequences for your actions. Okay? If you are a victim of online shaming, we can help. Make sure you check out their other articles on cyberbullying. You can contact them for a free, no obligation consultation today. Again, they are Mintz Law Firm. Now, internet speech can be cruder and crueler than our real life interactions, in large part due to our literal distance from people we're talking to and their reactions. That detachment can sometimes be liberating, and it's often a good thing that people speak bluntly online, especially against injustice that they see around them or around us. But a sense of proportion is crucial. These days, too many internet shame campaigns dole out punishment that is too brutal for the crime. Using an influential social media account to call out individuals isn't simply saying something's not cool. It's a request to have someone put in the digital stock where a potential unlimited number of people can throw digital stones at them, and it turns out to have a real life consequence for everyone involved. That's why starting a shaming campaign is not a decision to be taken lightly, especially because the internet doesn't do take backs if you change your mind later, right? The internet does not do take backs if you decide to change your mind later. The bigger the so called Delegante story became, the more disproportionate an affair. Okay? Online shaming is a door that swings only one way. You may have the power to open it, but you do not have the power to close it. And sometimes what rushes through that door can engulf you too. Some of the reactions to this piece have suggested that um, some people shouldn't even speak up, or that I think there is no room for calling out sexism, racism, and other bad behavior on the internet. Okay? But you should. You should call out sexism, racism, harassment, defamation. You should call it out. But when you call it out, make sure it's 100% facts. You never want to be on the end of a lawsuit for putting out false information on someone that is not true. Okay? I know a lot of people like to get on here and exaggerate stories and add to fucking stories. That's when you fuck up. There's nothing wrong with getting on a motherfucking internet and speaking what you want to speak. But when you lie on someone or shame someone and someone commits suicide because of your ignorance, or people's children are getting involved, people's families are getting involved, then you're stepping over the line, and you should have legal consequences for that. Okay? Someone calling someone's motherfucking mama does not have legal consequences to that. A grown motherfucking man, nobody should have to call his fucking mother. Okay? But yet, this same motherfucker gets on his videos or his live and talks all defamation, lies, and slander on other people. Did that first channel deserve to get took? I don't know. But this one that he's on now definitely does. Like I said, some people don't deserve a voice. Okay? Either you stand up or you sit the fuck down. I hope y'all have a great day. Thank you for listening. I know that this was long and I know it may have been boring. However, it was information. Content that a lot of people call for. And I understand that this may not even get many views because it's not drama. But this is out here and I put the time and took the time to share this with you, of people who are victims of online shaming, victims of harassment, and victim of defamation and slander, whomever it may be. It's not my job anymore to find out whether anybody's telling the truth or a lie. I'm only responsible for how I am and what people lie on me. Everybody else, you're on your own. Do what you want to do. Continue with the bullshit or see if you have proper grounds to get an attorney. But if you wanted to continue, continue. If you want it to stop, then you'll make it stop. Y'all have a great day. Peace.